All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, it is time again for Still City Sports Talk with your man, Big Rich. Adam will be joining us here momentarily. He's kind of doing the Berg thing right now, so he'll be with us here just a little bit. But we are joined by our guy, and if you notice by his background, and if you notice by his Twitter handle, we got something else to talk about tonight, sir. That would be Mr. Jason Smithberg. Jason, how you doing, buddy?
Big Rich, I'm a little under the weather, not feeling well, but I'm tough enough to come on the show with you and Adam tonight. So it's always a pleasure to be on with you guys.
Well, before we get into this Packers thing with the Steelers
Yes.
on Sunday night,
Yes.
if you remember going back about a month or so ago to our open mic night, which we do here on the network on Tuesday nights,
Sure.
you, sir, said that your beloved LA Dodgers weren't even going to make the playoffs. Yeah, so about all that.
Yeah. Wow. A lot's changed in a month. So, this is going to sound like I'm doing a one big, large step of backtracking here, but I found out in my history being, especially a Dodgers fan, Big Rich, that if I prepare for the worst, then the best happens. So while it sounded like I was being a complete negative Nancy by saying, well, my team's not even going to make the playoffs. And at that time, they were mired in a losing streak that reached, I think, 12 games and 12 out of 14 games or whatever it was, 12 out of 16, something like that. But the point being is that I've always found if I prepare for the worst, then the worst doesn't happen. And sometimes I need to get on a little bit of a negative tirade. So does that make me any less of a fan? Absolutely not, because I know lots of Dodgers fans who are far worse than I am when it comes to losing and winning. So I stand corrected. I am here right now eating a big slice of humble pie for predicting that the Dodgers would not even make the postseason. So thanks for putting me on call, Big Rich. I appreciate it.
Hey, but the humble pie has got to taste pretty good because your guys are playing for the championship back-to-back years.
Yes.
Otani's gotten hot at the right time. You know, he didn't really play very well the first part of the playoffs, but
Yep.
he's just on fire right now. Freeman is Freeman, Betts is Betts. Teoscar, you know from us talking, I've been a huge Teoscar guy when he was in Toronto. But yeah, this Dodger team, it's going to be a fun series. I really think it is. But your guys have played extremely well throughout the playoffs.
Yeah, I'm anticipating a great series as well. They're definitely not going to sweep the Blue Jays the way they did Milwaukee. I think this is going to be potentially a 6-game series. I'm going to be on the right side of the victory prediction this time and actually predict that the Dodgers will win this in 6. I, you talk about them getting hot at the right time, Rich. And, one of the things that was the most frustrating with this team all season was that it looked like they had just lollygagged on the field from July 1st up until the last 2 weeks of September. That last 2 weeks of September is when Mookie started to connect. Freddie started to swing the bat a little bit better. Shohei was kind of up and down, but they were getting production from the middle and the bottom parts of their lineup. So they managed to find a way to sail in with the right guys getting hot at the right time. And that alleviated most of my frustrations with watching this team during the regular season.
And last night I picked Toronto in 6, but both teams have Pirate influences on them because
Yep.
Isaiah Kiner-Falefa has gone back to Toronto, which I'm very happy to see him there and doing what he does best. And of course, Tyler Glass now, who just couldn't stay healthy in a Pirates uniform, is pitching really well for the Dodgers right now.
Yeah, and he's had a hard time staying healthy in a Dodgers uniform too, but he's managed to stay healthy at, stop me if you've heard this before, the right time of the season. His first 3 postseason starts, or first 2 postseason starts, I'm sorry, because I don't think he started in the wild card round against the Reds, if I recall. His first 2 postseason starts this year have been very solid. They haven't been dynamite blowout performances like Shohei Ohtani's 10 strikeout performance last week or Yoshinobu Yamamoto's. It's been solid. Glasnow's problem, Rich, has been and always will be the walks. He has to find a way to limit the damage on the base paths. If he can do that, or at least at the very least, prevent the walks from coming back to bite him in the butt, he's going to be A-okay. But I've been impressed with his stuff so far. And so, yeah, big thanks to the Pirates organization for letting us have this guy.
Yeah, I mean, super talented kid. The Pirates have had that happen several times where they've had a super talented pitcher that just couldn't stay healthy. Jamison Tyon was another one that was like that. And then they go and they leave the Pirates, they go someplace else, they get healthy and blow up. But our main reason for our discussion tonight is what's going to happen here in about 4 days. Sunday night football. I'm not calling it the Rogers Bowl. No. But the Pittsburgh Steelers will host the Green Bay Packers. 4-1-1 are the Green Bay Packers. 4-2 are the Steelers. And it seems to me that a certain guy that was a late addition to this team is finally starting to get his footing with the Packers, and that's Micah Parsons. But, talk to us about what this Green Bay Packers team is going to look like on Sunday and what you expect to see from them Sunday night.
Well, I expect to see pretty much the same thing out of them this Sunday that I've seen the last 2 Sundays, which is a very lethargic, very opportunistic offense in the first half of the game. I have not been pleased at all with Matt LaFleur's game calling in the last 3 games, which Green Bay has barely pulled all 3 of those games out by 4 points or less, if I'm not too much mistaken. So not only that, Rich, but I'm also special teams is something I'm going to be keeping an eye on as well, because, and I apologize for my dog barking up a storm there. Special teams, the Packers are not very good at. They've given up a lot of kick returns, a lot of punt return yards, and they have to find a way to collapse the line on special teams and prevent a lot of those big chunks of yards coming back. Now, also defensively, the Packers have been good with Micah Parsons, and I wasn't predicting Parsons to come out with a 6 or an 8 sack season through the first 4 or 5 weeks. I'm being realistic with his expectations, but Green Bay hasn't been able to establish a solidified and consistent pass rush. And that's been a little bit problematic because that puts a lot more pressure on their linebackers and their DBs to play check down defense, and sometimes play more man-to-man that they might want to do. So I want to see, again, a more consistent offense in the first half. I want to see better special teams, and I want to see a defense that's going to wreak havoc on Aaron Rodgers. I want to see Aaron Rodgers run for daylight every single damn down of that game. And I don't care if Jeff Hafley has to throw the entire kitchen sink at him. You got to find a way to put pressure on Rodgers, because as we saw this past week, Rodgers can still throw the football. That's not the problem. So they've got to find a way to limit his weapons and limit his opportunities to throw the ball.
Well, and one advantage or opportunity that the Packers have on the defensive side as well is it's DK Metcalf and then whoever else. It might be Jonnu Smith. It might be Pat Freiermuth. It might even be Jaylen Warren, but there really isn't that number 2 guy for the Steelers as a receiver. Now, Jonnu Smith, Pat Freiermuth, both tight ends, Jaylen Warren out of the backfield. But, that kind of helps your DBs a little bit when you really only have one that you have to be concerned about. The other ones are kind of like, well, if DK doesn't beat us, if one of those guys do, that's fine. We're not letting number 4 beat us.
Yeah, exactly. And you know what? I'm expecting Jeff Hafley, the defensive coordinator of the Packers, to come out with some different packages, especially in their dime and their nickel situations. I was reading an interesting stat earlier this week, Rich, where Xavier McKinney of the Packers, I guess, has only had the ball thrown in his direction just 3 times this season. I don't think he has any interceptions, if I'm not too much mistaken. But, whoever reported that made it sound like it was a bad thing. I'm like, well, they're not throwing to Xavier McKinney because they know how good he is. I do think also that the Steelers, size-wise, will present a bit of a matchup issue with Green Bay, especially in the defensive backfield, because DK Metcalf is basically a 6'5" walking marble granite statue. Guy is chiseled. He's built. His size is going to cause some problems. So again, Hafley's going to have to get creative. He's going to have to mix it up both on the front four and in the defensive backfield. Again, got to get pressure on these guys. You got to find a way to get pressure, which Green Bay has done. But let's also the takeaways too. I forgot to mention that's the most important thing. Green Bay doesn't have a lot of takeaways this season. So that indicates to me that A, their defense isn't designed for takeaways, or B, they're just not being aggressive, or C, they're being overly aggressive. So eventually the scales are going to tip in their favor somehow. I just don't know if it's going to be this week.
Well, and if we flip the field, the Steelers defense has got to get pressure on Jordan Love, but they've also got to be able to control number 8. Josh Jacobs, when he gets going, can just be a man possessed. He's a boulder going downhill.
Yeah.
And he could very easily roll up 170 yards in rushing. He's just like that. At the same time, he could have 17 if the Steelers really put that rush defense together. But I'm curious to see how the Steelers defense handles your receivers, because do you have a true number one? No, but you sure got a whole heck of a lot of number 2s and 3s between. And I'm a Matthew Golden guy. I liked him coming out of Texas. I loved it when Green Bay drafted him. Dobbs has started to do some really good things. You've got some good receivers on that team. You just don't have that big name.
Right.
But boy, I want to see. I'm concerned about what the Steelers DBs are going to do against those receivers.
Yeah, and you know what? getting back to Josh Jacobs really quickly. I know that he's been listed on their injury report most of the week, so I don't know if he is even going to be starting in this game or if he's going to play at all. And if he doesn't, Rich, then that means that the bulk of the carries are probably going to go. I would say to Elijah, not Elijah Wilson. Hold on, I just typed it up here. My bad. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, he did practice fully in practice today.
Okay, good.
Jacobs did.
Okay, so yeah,
he was a full participant in practice.
Okay, good, because that means if he wasn't able to go, then Emmanuel Wilson was set to get the bulk of the carries this Sunday. So, and Josh Jacobs is. It's frustrating for me in a way, Rich, as a fan, because I feel like LaFleur hasn't done enough to get him more involved in the offense. Because let's remember, Jacobs is not only adept as a north-south runner and an east-west runner, he can also catch the ball out of the backfield. And I feel like LaFleur hasn't really utilized him in a lot of creative offensive packages this season. So we haven't even seen the best of Josh break out yet. And as far as Green Bay's receivers go, this will be a good litmus test for the Steelers secondary because, like you just mentioned, we don't have a clear-cut number one. Our clear-cut number one is Christian Watson, and he's still working his way back from an ACL injury. So when you take away Watson from the equation, and Jaden Reed is injured, that leaves you with a bunch of guys who would normally be third, fourth, and fifth receiver options on any other team. So that's going to put more pressure on Jordan Love to find that one dedicated guy to throw the ball to. And that's why I'm expecting a huge, heavy dose of Tucker Kraft in this game on Sunday. It may happen, it may not. But, Tucker Kraft is working his way up to being the best tight end in football. And I think Green Bay will find a way to utilize him more against the Steelers.
Yeah, Kraft is definitely that X factor because he can get a ton of targets, and like you said, he's gotten himself, I firmly believe, top 5 tight end in the league right now. You got to mention him in the same breath with like a Jake Ferguson or George Kittle or somebody like that. You got to have him up there on that list, or Trey McBride in Arizona. Tucker Kraft is right there, and he's a very athletic tight end too. So you can't necessarily put just any linebacker on him. You might have to put a safety on him. Depending, I think Nate Herbig is probably going to see a whole lot of Tucker Kraft on Sunday night, which wouldn't be a bad thing, except for the fact that Nate Herbig's about 4 inches shorter than Tucker Kraft. So that could be an issue. That could cause an issue for the Steelers defense on Tucker Kraft. But
exactly.
the protection of Jordan Love is going to make a difference too, because the Steelers defense has been getting a lot of pressure on quarterbacks. It doesn't matter who it is. Highsmith, Watt, Hayward up the middle. They've been getting a lot of pressure on quarterbacks, and that could get Love a little bit of happy feet come this Sunday.
Yeah, and it feels like Green Bay's offensive line is kind of in a state of flux right now because Zach Tom, I think, is still injured, if I'm not too much mistaken, and as a result, his injury has forced a lot of guys to move around to different positions on the line. For example, Elgton Jenkins has taken the bulk of snaps at center this season, whereas the last couple of years he either shifted over from right guard to right tackle or even right tackle to left tackle. You also have Aaron Banks and Rasheed Walker, left tackle and your left guard primarily, who have had to switch a little bit here and there as well. So that one injury to Zach Tom has kind of put their offensive line in flux. And yeah, Rich, you're right. They're going to be under a lot of pressure to keep that pocket stable for Jordan Love to give him enough time to find his open receivers.
Well, Banks and Tom both participated in practice today.
Okay, cool. I've been down.
Hopefully that helps you out a little bit.
It does. I've been down all week. I've been sick most of the week, so I haven't had a chance to check their injury report to see who's been active or inactive. So thanks for that.
Well, I think this is a big game for both teams.
Yeah.
Because the Steelers are coming off of losing 2 in a row.
Yep.
The Packers are in a division where every team is at least 500.
Yep.
Could wind up having one of the best divisions in football, if not the best division in football. And that puts a lot of pressure. That tie that's in there against those guys that are a rating, not a logo. It's a that tie can definitely have a factor come playoff time when we get to week 17.
And this is why I am so against the NFL playing games to ties. Herman Edwards once eloquently spoke, "You play to win the game." Okay? And that is so true. The NHL, I have no problem with teams in the National Hockey League playing to ties. But in the NFL, you're right, Rich, that one tie can make a difference between Green Bay getting a 1 seed or a 2 seed, or Green Bay winning the NFC North, or finishing second in the NFC North. So
making the playoffs or not.
You're right. And the thing that disappointed me the most about that Dallas game was it appeared to me that aside from being tired, Green Bay's defense just gave up. And again, I'm sure a lot of it had to do with them being tired, but they were on the field a lot. And give credit to Dallas's defense. They did what they had to do to, even though it was a high-scoring game and Jordan Love found his points in the end zone, still, neither team could get a stop on the other club. So, that Dallas game, we could very well be talking about that game again come mid-December, late December, when we start getting down to the final 4 or 5 games of the regular season.
Adam finally decided to grace us with his presence this evening. So, no, I told everybody you were doing a bird thing. So, that got you. You were doing a bird thing.
Rich, where's your camera at tonight, buddy? Are we doing radio or what are we doing?
My camera's on.
I don't see you.
I don't see you either, Rich. I didn't say anything about it because I was on a roll with the Packers assessment. So
I see it perfectly clear on my screen.
You are on. You are. Here, let me take a picture and I'll send it to you. Anyway,
I promise you, I'm seeing it full.
I'm telling you, this is what we see.
I see a long black rectangle.
So Jay, how are you? Jay, what's going on,
shot,
man?
Jay.
Rich, I sent you a picture.
I'm going to send you one of mine. This is crazy.
Anyway.
Let's see, Adam.
So, Jay, how are you tonight, buddy?
Trying to get over a little bout of the not really the flu, but just a cold that I have right now. So yeah, stayed home sick from work today, and just did my best to drink a lot of tea and just rest. So yeah, stayed home sick.
Rich, just to let you know, it is black on YouTube too.
Yeah, but you see what I'm seeing.
I see what I see that. Change it. Take the background off. Sorry, Jay.
No, you're good.
Take the background off and see if that helps.
I just made it a blur.
What's up, Josh? How you doing tonight, buddy?
No background.
Well, Jay, I guess the ever question. You had no faith in your boys over there in the boys of summer.
I led with that.
I had total faith in them, and I picked them to go to the World Series, and I stuck to it. And yeah, it didn't fail me.
I completely not only contradicted myself, but I made an ass out of myself by backtracking and explaining to Rich that for me, being a Dodgers fan, if I prepare for the worst, i.e., say they're going to lose, then they're not going to lose. Because in the past, whenever I root for them to win, like, come on, guys, go, 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 they end up losing. So either it's me or there's a great galactic karma in the cosmos that just doesn't want them to win when I root for them. So, but still, with that being said, also my confidence in them was at an all-time low because at that time, they were in the middle of that really bad losing streak that took place in.
You mean all the pitchers were hurt?
All the pitchers were hurt. The bullpen was literally a dumpster fire. They couldn't save a cat out of a tree. Yeah, it was bad at that time. Morale was really low. I was really down in the dumps. I was about getting ready to throw my Dodger blue bat against the wall and break it into 20 million splinters because that's how pissed off I was at them.
And but, here's the rest of the world, Jay. We're like, the Dodgers got this, so chill the fuck out.
And you know what? I really need to stop being so selfish because I realize that there are fans of so many teams who haven't been to the postseason in a very long time, who would love for nothing more than to freak out about their teams in October. So I need to quit being so selfish and just enjoy the ride. I need to enjoy the ride.
Sit back in the car, sit in the car seat, put your seatbelt on. Yeah. Actually, no, sit in the back of the station wagon like we did in the 80s and fucking enjoy the ride.
And you know what? That's what I'm going to do. So no more negative Nancy talk for me. No more, oh, we're going to lose this. We're going to lose that.
Jay, I have been on your page here. Everyone's, oh, the Dodgers spent all this money. Oh, the Dodgers spent all this money on free agents. No, your team didn't want to spend the money on these free agents.
Yep. But you know what? I've been reading a lot of interesting Twitter feeds over the last couple of weeks about how everyone is just looking into the crystal ball, saying that the Dodgers are going to be the reason why we have a work stoppage in 2027. It's very easy to point the finger at them and blame them for a work stoppage. But when I last looked, there were 30 teams in Major League Baseball, all owned by 30 owners. It's not just one team that would force a work stoppage. It is a multitude of things happening to a multitude of teams. The Dodgers are merely taking advantage of a system that was designed to do exactly what they're doing. Now, the caveat to that is I think a lot of owners and executives never expected the Dodgers to dish out all of these deferred contracts to so many guys like Shohei and Freddie Freeman and Mookie Betts and Teoscar Hernandez. But still, what they're doing is not
Where
illegal.
Else would have they ended?
I don't know.
No one was going to dish out the money.
No
one wanted to win championships. No one cares.
Yeah. So, I mean, to those who claim that the Dodgers have ruined baseball and they're the reason why there's going to be a work stoppage in 2027, that's fine. I respect your opinion. I may not agree with it, but you can have that opinion. And I'm being objective here. At least I think I am. okay? Because you guys know, aside from being a Dodgers fan, I'm just a huge baseball fan in general. And I would love for nothing more to watch a Pirates-Yankees World Series, a Pirates-Blue Jays World Series. I'd love to see the Minnesota Twins back in the World Series. They haven't been there since 1991 when Jack Morris pitched the best postseason game I ever saw in my life. That 1-0 victory. What was that, Rich? Game 5 or game 6?
Game 7. That was game 7.
7.
John Smoltz and
That's
Jack
right.
Morris.
0-0, Smoltz and Morris. Yeah.
Yep. Smoltz and Morris. That I've only been
All right,
around. So yeah,
Dan
I
Gladden
want
with
to
the most Dan Gladden with the most clutch catch in a World Series since Willie Mays.
Oh, by the way, Dan Gladden went to Fresno State. Thank you very much. So yeah, I want to see more parity and more of these other teams getting to the World Series and playing for a championship. But also, I mean, look, Milwaukee
I like hearing the
Brewers.
Dodgers. I like hearing the Dodgers enemies bitch.
Well, you know what? I will sit back and just say we have cornered the market on the top players for the last 5 seasons, and we deserve it. Does that mean that I have to feel bad for being a fan of what they're doing? No, not at all. Because if the Giants were doing this, if the Mets have sort of done it, if the Orioles were doing this, if the Brewers were doing this, you know what? Nobody would care 2 cents about this. So, I'm just going to let people make up their own mind and decide for themselves whether or not we're going to be the reason why there's no baseball in 2027.
I don't see. They do these long contracts so they can't get in there and destroy them.
Well, the thing that I think the big issue is, and I agree with it 100%. The deferred dollars is where the problem comes in. Because since there's no cap, there's no need for deferred dollars. They're paying Shohei $2 million a year this year, next year, and I believe in 27. And they've got his $70 million a year backtracked all the way up to 2040 or whatever it is.
Yeah.
If a guy is getting paid $70 million a year, you pay him $70 million a year. The deferred contract and no salary cap is where the problem comes in.
Yep. But you know what? Tony Clark, who's head of the Players Union, has stood pretty firm when he said it'll be a cold day in hell before we get a salary cap. So that doesn't bode well for negotiations at the end of next season.
What do you think of Josh's
Then you get
suggestion?
rid of the deferred contracts.
You know what? I actually like Josh's suggestion: a $400 million cap for everybody, and then what was the other one? $90 million for
was the floor.
The $400 million is too low.
I'm in favor of that.
I mean, too high. $400 million is too high.
I've also
Why?
been in
It's where it's
favor
at now, ain't it?
I think so.
The luxury tax is 3.
I mean, these other teams are still banking. These other teams are still banking off of these teams that are winning with the luxury tax.
But there's only 2 teams that are over that are over the luxury tax this year.
Oh, really?
Dodgers.
Probably Dodgers and Yankees.
And I would say
the Mets.
Dodgers. Yeah, Dodgers and the Mets.
Oh, one of the New York
Dodgers
teams.
and the Mets. So
one made playoffs and one didn't.
Yep.
So just everyone
what
saying
the
money
deal
can
is
buy
with Miami
championships,
right
that goes to prove you right there. Money doesn't always win.
No, I mean, if you look at the top 10 payrolls, okay, Mets, Dodgers, Yankees, Phillies, Blue Jays, Rangers, Astros, Braves, Padres, Cubs.
This is where we're getting into that 13-year Bryce Harper signing, where it gets a little steeper, and all of a sudden, he's getting older, and how, I'm not saying Bryce Harper's declining, but he is just a DH.
He's
No. He's a first baseman.
Right, but like he's getting towards, he's what, 36?
No.
34.
Bryce Harper's not that old yet.
33,
34?
Something in that range.
He is.
Jay, I like how you became the host up there in the corner now.
He's 33. He's 33.
He just turned 33. He just had a birthday
last week. Yeah.
The only counter argument I would say towards Josh's suggestion, which I like, by the way, is if you have a $400 million cap and you have a $90 million floor for every team, what's the guarantee that every team is going to spend a good majority of or the bulk of that $90 million floor? Who's to say that even with all that extra money, the Colorado Rockies aren't going to be as aggressive as the Dodgers in the offseason, or the Kansas City Royals aren't going to be as aggressive as the Yankees in the offseason? Now, yes, I know that's an apples and oranges comparison. We're talking about two different markets, two different teams. But this is where owners and executives have to get creative. They have to think outside the box. So, and again, Josh, I love your suggestion, but with that $90 million floor, still no guarantees that you would get every owner taking advantage of that across the board.
I'm okay with the idea, but I would need to condense it a little bit. 300 million on the high end, 100 million on the low end. You have 5 teams in Major League Baseball this year that spent less than 100 million. Pittsburgh, Chicago, White Sox, Tampa Bay, the A's, and the Marlins. You have one that spent over, or two, I'm sorry, that spent over 300. So, but if the Pirates spent 100 million, that's another 13 million than what they had. They had 87 million on their payroll this year. What would they have done with that 13 million? I don't know. I don't know who they would have brought in or whatever, but would it have made a difference? Very possibly. The A's, who were 27 million under that 100, with that young team, you put a ball player in there, a $27 million player, that could make a big difference to a team like Oakland because they got all kind of young talent on that team.
Yes, they do.
You put a $27 million a year pitcher in there, or 215s.
And whenever they move to Las Vegas, they're going to be banking on those young kids like Nick Kurtz and Jacob Wilson, who's Jack's kid, by the way, guys. Former Pirate great Jack Wilson. So they're going to be banking on Nick Kurtz and Jacob Wilson to usher them into that new ballpark in Vegas whenever it gets built.
And Ben Rooker and what's the other kid's name? Soderstrom. Tyler Soderstrom.
Oh, yeah, Tyler Soderstrom, who happens to be the son of former Fresno State great Steve Soderstrom, who pitched for the Diamond Dogs back in the mid to late 90s. So, yay, Fresno State connection continuing to shine through here in MLB. Woo!
There you go.
All right. Did you guys even mention football yet or no?
We did, man.
We had like a 20-minute football talk.
Yeah,
I know. I was cleaning up. My dog's having like stomach issues, and she shits on the floor now all the time. So that's what I was cleaning up.
Just got to give Adam a hard time.
I will say this, Rich, kind of going back to football and building on what we were talking about first about keys to the game. For me, here are 3 players that I'm going to be looking for Green Bay to break out in this game. Obviously, Micah Parsons for what he can do on defense. Sure. On offense, I want to see not just Josh Jacobs, but I want to see Savion Williams become more involved. He has some terrific speed, and I think the talent is there. Dontavian Wicks drops the ball too much. I think Savion does too, which is a downside, but I think if they can find a way to get Savion more involved, that would be key. And another player that I'm going to be looking for here for the Packers to make an impact in this game, obviously, Mr. Jordan Love. I think he's actually done a very solid job this season behind center for the Packers. Hasn't tried to do too much. Hasn't tried to be Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers. He's trying to be Jordan Love, which is what they need him to do. His numbers aren't mind-boggling, but he's getting the job done. He's keeping his team in games.
What's up, Andy? How you doing tonight, buddy? NFL outdated is in the chat tonight.
Beat the Packers.
I'm with you.
Yeah, you've done shows with outdated, haven't you, Andy?
Maybe once or twice. I don't remember. It's been a while.
The Bears fan, Cubs fan.
Okay.
I'm with you on those guys. What I want to see happen out of the Steelers, and I want to see Joey Porter put the clamps down on somebody. I want to see that. I need to see that happen. I want to see Jonnu Smith become more a part of the receiving game than what he has been. Although Fryermuth became, a lot bigger part of it than what he has been in the last few weeks in last week's game. But I want to see what Rodgers does. I'm still. He's not going to look at it. I don't think as the kind of game that it's a revenge game because they're not playing in Green Bay. But when we look at what Aaron Rodgers is doing, I need to see him open it up a little more. He hasn't thrown for more than I don't think he's had a 300-yard game yet. I don't think he's actually thrown for more than about 270 in a game, 260 in a game. So we got to open this thing up and quit being one-dimensional. That's one of the big things I want to see in this one.
Well, like you said earlier, Rich, this game has some potential long-term ramifications for both teams because this could potentially be a make or break game for both teams in terms of determining how their season finishes. It's probably not the most important game for both teams, but when you look now that we're already coming up into week 6 here, week 7 in the NFL, this is now the time of the season where we need to start figuring out, where we need to start separating the contenders from the pretenders. So both football teams need this game to take that step forward. If one of these teams is going to lose, whoever loses, their season's not done or over with. But again, this game will determine the outcome of the rest of their season as far as them being near the top, the middle, or even potentially the bottom of their divisions and both conferences.
I still think the Vikings end up in the bottom of that conference.
I don't know about you, Adam, but I think this means more to the Steelers because A, they're on a 2-game losing streak. B, they've got to make hay while they can, while Lamar is down. He's practicing today. I haven't heard anything about him playing this week, but they need to make that gap wider.
You would know more than me, but I thought he was a go. And I know the Bengals don't scare you at all, Rich, but the Bengals are still officially a game behind us with a game in hand now with the win. I know they don't. I know you don't think they're anything, but just to let you know, they're in the rearview mirror.
They are in the rearview mirror, but I'm just looking at the Bengals with what they currently have at quarterback won't last till week 17. That's what I'm saying. Flacco is not going to be this Flacco week 17.
Andy, were you calling Jason's background Caleb's crib? Is that what that reference was?
What can I say?
Still here. I know he has Frozen 4 tonight. I don't know what time he gets started on that, but I know the Frozen 4 goes off tonight.
Okay. Hater's gonna hate. What can I say?
That's our dated show. That is the NFC North round table up there. Anyway, I know more about other people's shows, but that's bad. Rich, this is a big game for the Steelers, obviously. Like you just said, 2-game losing streak coming into this. What is? I think I had us losing this game on paper. I
believe you did too.
I don't
had us winning it.
I know you have us going 17-0. I get it.
No, I don't. I have 10-7.
We both have them. That's funny. We both had 10-7, but we both had different losses to different teams. So, but yes, this was one of the weeks I picked up a loss, and I love the NFL blitz is coming to Pittsburgh and Romeo Dobbs with the big helmet, putting in the code. Can't miss that. Do you think that helmet is distracting at all to defenders?
I mean, I don't know.
I
Maybe
mean,
it's
it's
some of
distracting
them.
on TV.
I don't know why it would be. They practice with it all the time. The guys wear those during practice all the time.
Right, but I mean, I don't know. It's just like it's like those Charger jerseys. They're just out there.
Those Chargers uniforms, those bright yellow ones, are god awful. I thought the Savannah Bananas had formed a football team because that was just atrocious, man. That was atrocious.
I said last night the announcers on Westward One were having trouble making out the numbers and who the guys were because the numbers just blended right in with the uniforms, and they were so far up in SoFi Stadium, so they were just so they were like, "Excuse our, but we really can't make out the numbers from here, so bear with us, folks."
As someone that's done that, I feel the pain. There is nothing worse. We went one rival game, high school game I'm doing, and the team that I'm calling for, their big rival comes rolling out with a Carolina blue jersey with blue numbers. And I'm
Hey.
like, you guys got to be kidding. And I've known their head coach and their AD forever. I saw that. I saw him after the game. I said, "Are you freaking kidding me?" He said, "What?" I said, "What the heck is this thing with the jerseys you got going on out here?" And he just started laughing. He said, "Made it a little rough on you, did it?" I said, "You think?" Because it just blends the worst ones. And I'm sure you guys have seen these on some college uniforms where it's like the all one color and then they have the outline in white.
Yep.
Good luck. Good luck and God bless you on that one because you're completely guessing on a lot of the 8s and 6s and 9s all look the same. It's horrible.
Is
Absolutely
merchandise
horrible.
really that important? Come on, people.
I can guarantee you they ain't selling one of these alternative Steeler jerseys. Well, they'll sell one because Adam will buy one. But
I want one. I think if they had black pants, we talked about this last night. I think if black pants went with these jerseys a lot better than them snake color things they have. But I think I do you still have the picture on there, Rich?
yeah, let me pull it up. That's what I was doing whenever I
Now, Jay, it would have been
uh
cool if the Packers wore their original jerseys this weekend too, and it was a full throwback. That would have
That
been awesome.
Yep, that
you
would have
mean
been
the one with
cool.
the round number in the middle? That's the one you're
Um,
talking about?
no, the one that they wear is kind of like a navy blue with a I think like a green line going down both sides of the helmet or something, if I remember right. But um, yeah, that and then you have the logo of the football player kind of doing the Heisman Trophy-esque pose. So on the front of the jersey. So I think that's the one he's talking about. Wow, look at that.
This
That
right
heart.
here intimidates nobody.
When are we going to dinner at Medieval Times, guys? I know who we're rooting for, the yellow and the black knight.
If they
I'm
had
telling
black
you.
pants, this uniform would be so much better.
It wouldn't.
The pants,
We're working from zero. It don't take much to make anything better.
dude. The pants just kill this whole jersey.
The jersey kills the jersey, man. I'm not a fan
No,
of this one. I'm not a fan of the jailbreak. Um, they're horrible.
I
The
like this
only
jersey.
the only redeeming qualities of these jerseys, going back to what we talked about a little bit ago, is that those numbers pop off that jersey. That's about the only redeeming quality to those jerseys.
Dude, I'm telling you, if they're different pants, it would be so much better.
What did you
Oh
guys think?
man.
What did you guys think of Russell Wilson tossing some shade to Sean Payton earlier this week, throwing his old head coach under the bus, calling him classless?
What did you know?
Peyton had made some comments about Wilson and the Giants, and I guess Russell didn't like or he made some comments about Russell when he played in Denver, if I remember right. And
Yeah.
well, safe to say Russ didn't take to it too kindly, and so he teed off on Peyton and basically called him classless in a nice little diatribe there. My feeling is this. Get over it,
Right.
guys. Yeesh.
Right. Yeah, I mean, Sean Payton is claiming that the comments were not directed at Russ.
Sure. And piss
but-
runs uphill, Rich.
I'm just telling you what the man said. You know,
Yeah.
I'm just the reporter. Don't shoot the messenger.
You're right.
But
Sorry.
you know, and then Russ says, classless but not surprised. Didn't realize you're still bounty hunting 15 years later through the media.
These are the
So,
moments that do try us.
but can I throw a little love to my guy wearing 6? How about that Jackson Dart fella?
Oh boy. Yeah, things are getting
Boo and
really
scat,
interesting.
scat and boo,
Scataboo?
scat and boo.
I'll
Well,
tell you what,
it's
man. Now you
definitely-
guys understand why I wanted him in a Steelers jersey.
His play so far has definitely ramped up the Russell Wilson trade talk, that's for sure. I think Russell might be one of the first dominoes to fall at the trade deadline, assuming that the Raiders don't deal Max Crosby first. But yeah, I mean, with Jackson, you can see it there. Obviously, he's just a rookie, but still, I mean, Rich, I kind of feel like we go through this with the New York, New Jersey Giants every 10 to 15 years where they're irrelevant for a decade or so. And then all of a sudden, boom, everything collides. They become great for a 2 or 3 year span. They go to the Super Bowl and they beat Tom Brady, the Patriots, or somebody else in the Super Bowl. Then they break it down, build it back up for another 10 or 15 years. And it feels like the Giants are kind of on that same trajectory there this season.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully Dart will have some good coaching because he's actually got some talent around him and that they're going to hopefully build on. They've got a good left tackle, really, I think a really good left tackle in Andrew Thomas.
Yeah.
I think Scatabo could be a really good back in the league. I'm not saying he's going to be Hall of Fame caliber, but he could be a 1,000-yard guy. But Malik Neighbors is a stud.
I was just going to say this is where you
the fact that he's
Malik
hurt.
Neighbors. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, Malik Neighbors is a stud. And, you know, him hurt does hurt the Giants dramatically because going from him to Wan'Dale Robinson or Darius Slayton is a big drop.
Yep.
But man, that they're putting some decent things together in New York.
And they're saving Brian Dable's job in the purpose. So yay, Brian Dable. Your job is safe for another week or so.
Is Lane Kiffins going to be the head coach of the Giants?
No. I think Lane Kiffin has too much of a
Rick.
Lane Kiffin has too much of a good thing at the University of Mississippi. There is no way he should leave Oxford to go back and coach in the NFL. Excuse me.
The only reason he would take that Giants job is because of Dart.
Right.
But Dayball's not going anywhere unless they just absolutely, crap themselves for the rest of the season. Dayball's not going anywhere. I agree with what Jason said. Scattaboo and Dart have saved his job for at least another season. So it's going to be fun to see what the Giants do. I don't think they contend for a playoff spot, but could they contend for being 500?
Most definitely, yeah.
Oh, that'd be great in Pittsburgh. At 500, that'd be great in Pittsburgh.
Oh, jeez. They could go 17-0, and he'd want to fire Tomlin.
Listen. There's a lot of people that want Tomlin fired.
There are some of us Packer fans who want.
And if they won the Super Bowl, yeah. But Jason, here's the thing: if they would win the Super Bowl this year, all these Tomlin haters would now think that he's the greatest thing since Chuck Noll.
Yep. It's funny how fandom works in that way, doesn't it?
I wouldn't, but I wouldn't. I'd give him props for winning, but
you'd still fire him.
I still wouldn't think he's the greatest coach in the world.
I've never said he was the greatest coach in the world. All I have said is that
his personal record looks great for Canton, but as a team record, it looks awful. And he's
Sorry about
2
my
and 10
dogs
on,
barking out in the backyard there.
and he's 2 and 10 on Thursday Night Football, and he's under 500 in the playoffs.
Well, we've had the discussion before. There's a lot of really good coaches that were under 500 in the playoffs. So, he's not in a line of one.
I'm just saying.
But yeah, the one that, and we were talking about this last night, Jason. I want to get your thoughts on this. We kind of figured that McDaniel is gone in Miami at some point, if not during the season, after the season.
Yeah,
I don't know if he is.
And if Atlanta continues to be bad, Raheem Morris might be in trouble. Is there anybody else that you could see legitimately being in trouble? Could LaFleur be in trouble if the Packers don't perform?
Yep, most definitely.
12 years, right?
Yeah, I mean LaFleur's been there for a long time. He took over when Mike McCarthy left, so he's been there for over a decade. But you're right, Rich. For a guy who is a so-called offensive genius, I think as a coach, he's made out less with more than any other coach in the NFL, aside from a couple of guys, of course. But it does feel like that window of opportunity is closing for Matt, and he needs to start figuring out a way to get a little bit more creative with his game calling there. Going back to your initial question of coaches that could be gone, Raheem Morris in Atlanta, Mike McDaniel in Miami. I've heard a lot of, in the last couple of weeks, Bill Belichick to Miami rumors. If Belichick loses his job in North Carolina, this is why I don't think that's going to happen. Number one, if the Tar Heels let him out of his contract this year, they owe him like a $55 or a $60 million payout, something like that.
Big bucks.
Yeah,
I gotta double check it, but yeah.
Now, does that mean they won't fire him? No, absolutely not. But I really don't think that Belichick wants to go back to the NFL. That's my belief, and I think one of the reasons why he took the North Carolina job is because he wanted
a girlfriend.
Keep an eye on his hot girlfriend, but also call all the shots. He doesn't want to have to deal with a general manager anymore, doesn't want to have to deal with an owner anymore. And North Carolina, they gave him the job just based on credibility and based on Hall of Fame credentials, because he will be in Canton one of these days. So, I mean, the Belichick to Miami rumors will be interesting to keep an eye on there. I don't know of anybody who would want that Dolphins job to begin with, because when you go in there and you take it, when McDaniel loses his job, you're going to have to worry about Tua's contract. You're going to have to worry about Jalen Waddle. You're going to have to worry about Tyreek Hill. You're going to have to worry about 6 or 7 other high-priced players on that team that are eating up a lot of luxury tax and a lot of salary. And that, to me, if I'm a guy looking for a head coaching job, I don't want to coach in South Beach. And plus, Stephen Ross, he's looking at possibly breaking it down and building it back up yet again for the 51st time. So, yeah, wouldn't want that job. As far as Atlanta's concerned, Raheem Morris, I love the guy's enthusiasm. I just don't know if he'll ever be a solid head coach. If he loses his job in Atlanta, I've heard all the typical names tossed around. Josh McDaniels. I've heard, who else? I've heard
Brian Flores would be a great fit.
Yeah, exactly. I've heard Brian Flores' name pop up.
Back to Miami?
No, to Atlanta.
Oh.
I've also heard. I've even heard Robert Saleh in San Francisco, their defensive coordinator's name, pop back up. So,
look at it this way, guys. You've got a high quality young quarterback. You've got a top 5 running back in football in Bijan. You've got a top 15 receiver in Drake London as your number 1, maybe a top 10, depending on his health, to build around on your offense. Your defense, you've got Terrell in the defensive backfield. You've added all these pass rushers and everything. The defense is relatively solid. That's not a bad place for a guy to go. It's not like Miami, like you were saying, Jason, that's a complete dumpster fire. Atlanta's got some pieces that, with fine-tuning, could become a decent team.
Yeah, it's a more desirable job than Miami. So, it'll be interesting to keep an eye on that job, too, to see whose names surfaced as potential replacements if Raheem Morris does get the boot, which, I don't know what his relationship is like with Arthur Blank, but, Arthur Blank doesn't keep head coaches around for too long looking at his track record. So watch out.
Yeah, Arthur Blank wants to win. He wants to get into the playoffs.
Yep.
And, the Falcons have a chance, but they don't. But I think Morris, McDaniels, Saleh, those are guys that fall into that category for me that are really good coordinators, spectacular coordinators, lousy head coaches. Josh McDaniels is a really, really good OC. I would hire him as the OC for the Steelers, no question. Would I make him the head coach? Not a chance in hell.
Nope.
Would I make him the OC? Yeah, I would make him the OC. Would I make Robert Saleh the DC for the Steelers? No question. Would I make him the head coach? No way.
Interesting how that dynamic works out sometimes.
It is. It's really weird. Well, Dan Quinn was that way. Dan Quinn's a fantastic defensive coordinator. Washington is showing that he's actually learned from his prior failures as a head coach and gotten better.
Yep.
I don't think these other guys are doing that.
Yeah, and as far as LaFleur is concerned, I haven't heard any hot seat rumors for him. The pressure is on, but that's different than the hot seat. So at least for now, LaFleur seems to have the thumbs up from Brian Gutekunst and Policy, their chairman.
So what do you see? I know we're getting close to time, but what do you see as the outcome Sunday night?
The outcome Sunday night, I think this is going to be – I'm going to call this one right now. I'm going to say Packers take this one 24-21. I think it's going to be there will be some points scored, but I think it's going to be a game won in the trenches. It'll be a bit of a defensive grudge match. So I'm calling it.
Just to let you know, they put fresh new sod down too.
Oh, good.
All new field.
Good deal.
I'm sure Boswell had something to say about that.
Yeah, right.
Oh yeah.
So
I was just like, I don't know if you guys talked about that or not before I got here, but that's kind of a big deal.
We didn't. We didn't, and it is, yeah.
I'm calling it 24-21 Packers. I think Jordan Love throws for 200-plus yards. Tucker Kraft has a 100-yard game as a tight end out of the backfield. 24-21 Packers.
Adam?
Oh, I took the Packers in my yearly preview of our show, so I am definitely taking the Packers in this one. I am saying it comes down to the wire, and it's going to be 31-24, Jay. That's what I'm saying.
Okay. Hey, that's not a bad line to bet on, so that's a good call on that one.
Mine's right in the same general vicinity. I've got the Steelers winning. I picked this as a win when we did our beginnings, and at the beginning of the season, I had it as a win. I think the Steelers win this one 23-20.
Okay, I like that line too.
I see the Steelers having a defensive touchdown.
Oh, a defensive touchdown. Are you talking about a pick six or a fumble recovery for a touchdown?
I'm thinking somewhere along the lines of I'm thinking somewhere along the lines of a strip sack that gets run for a touchdown.
Okay, fair enough.
I have Jordan Love as my fantasy quarterback this weekend, so
Jacobs was my number one. Josh Jacobs was my number one overall pick. I had the fourth pick in the draft. I took Jacobs with my number one pick. But
bad pick. I mean, he proved he plays sick like he was last week. Is he over that cold? I did not catch it.
He
looked to be over last Sunday, but
he was on the injury report earlier this week, but Rich said that he practiced in full pads for the last 2 days, so it sounds like he's expected to play on Sunday.
Yeah, I'm looking at the practice report right now, and it shows did participate. So
okay. Good stuff.
Yep.
Great stuff. I took the Dodgers to sweep the World Series.
No, I'm taking them in 6. Toronto is a heck of a ball club, in Major League Baseball this year, they had the best walk percentage in MLB. They were the second hardest team to strike out. They had the third highest hard hit ball ratio in MLB. They don't hit for a lot of power, but they put the ball in play. They don't make ridiculous errors on the base paths or defensively. This is a quality ball club. I think they're going to take the Dodgers down to the wire. I'm calling Dodgers in 6, but I don't think it's going to be a sweep the way it was in Milwaukee for us.
Is George Springer going to do it again?
More than likely. Yep, more than likely. I mean, George Springer is just one of those guys, as much as I hate to admit it. Yeah, he's just one of those guys built for October. He's just wired differently to perform in October. Now, he's always been a very good regular season player as well. I mean, he's a 8 or 9 time All-Star for crying out loud. But still, when he gets to October, the pressure of the moment just doesn't seem to get to him. And he likes to bring on the pressure in the biggest moments to the other team. So, Springer's going to go deep in this series multiple times. Hopefully it doesn't come up in a crucial situation like it did against Seattle a few nights ago.
I certainly could see, you're right. He's in that same mold as a Joe Carter or Manny Ramirez, that they just seem to turn it up when the postseason kicks in. I'm going Izzy for MVP.
You're going who?
Isaiah Kiner-Falefa for World Series MVP.
Oh, Big Rich with the mic drop MVP moment. All right, he's going Kiner-Falefa.
Mouse straw, baby.
Yeah, Miles Straw. My prediction for World Series MVP.
Kiki.
Well,
just say
okay.
Kiki. Just say it. Just say it.
All right, Kike Hernandez, baby, the guy who has the second most career home runs in October. Oh no, the third most career home runs in October in baseball history. World Series MVP, Enrique Kike Hernandez. You heard it first, baby.
There you go.
I did want to say something else too. Sidney Crosby passed Mario Lemieux finally in points last night. I was trying to figure out how many more games it took Sidney Crosby to do it because Lemieux played a lot less games.
Well, yeah.
I was trying to find it out, and I was trying to do this math in my head, and I was like, I can't do this. But I just want to say congratulations to Sid the Kid, obviously. And is that true? We're doing the Highmark Winter Classic. Did anyone look into that yet? Next year?
Yeah, I saw something about it today.
The new stadium's getting a welcome. Might be fun to go.
Yeah. Sidney Crosby has played 1,539 regular season games.
No, this is playoff record and everything, Rich, just to let you know.
Well, because Mario Lemieux only played 915.
Not bad.
Regular season games. They've probably played about the same number of playoff games, but about 600 game difference.
Guys, I have to leave to go pick up my daughter from volleyball practice, so unfortunately, I have to jet on out of here.
Yeah, we're going to wrap up right now, Jay. So, hey, you got to renew your Facebook too, just to let you know.
Yeah, I temporarily disabled it because it got hacked. So, once I'm sure that nothing dirty has been done with it, I'll get it back up as soon as I can.
Okay, cool.
Okay, so it's always a pleasure,
man.
Hey, I appreciate you guys. It's always fun and an honor to talk sports with you guys, whatever it is. If anyone out there wants to follow me in the social media mondosphere that is X/Twitter, there's my handle right there at Dodger Jason.
Other side, Jay. Other side. Right side.
Yeah, right
your other right.
All the way across. All the way across. All the way across, Jay.
Whatever. It's right there on the screen. You can see it. Fuck it. You can follow me at Dodger Jason. Always delighted to interact with everybody. Again, thanks to you guys. Always a pleasure. Peace out and God bless. Looking forward to joining you on open mic as soon as I can.
Always good to see you, man.
Yep.
Yes,
all right.
Sir.
Take care, guys. Have a good one.
All right, Jay. Have a good one.
Okay.
Well, Rich, that was a good little show we had. Jay's always a great guest. Part of the team here. Very
yeah.
knowledgeable, very
Doing business
knowledgeable young man.
stuff right out.
My food is sitting out on the porch apparently. Can I go grab it real
Oh,
quick
dude,
before
go
it
eat.
becomes freezing? But
No, let's shut it down and go eat.
all right, cool. So you can get me at Sports Talk and get on Twitter, guys. Driving to the Top Productions on YouTube. I must thank everyone. Looks like a decent number at least viewed it out there in the Twitter world. I know it doesn't show up here on StreamYard for some reason, but I must thank everyone. Last I looked, it was over 400. So thank you everyone that tuned in. Yeah. So yeah, you can get me there, reach out, like, subscribe, hit the notification buttons. Join us. As you see, Josh is in there. Andy was over here tonight. Always good to hear from Andy. And
Yeah.
So that was a good little show. I'm sorry I was late, but sometimes work and then you get home and you find dog shit on the floor and you got to clean it up.
Well, it happens. But no, man, you can get me on Twitter, Big Rich 8371. Facebook's just my name, Rich Richardson. And again, man, many thanks to Jason for popping in tonight, and to everybody that's been watching and commenting and things like that. We appreciate all of y'all, and look forward to a really good week of NFL.
Absolutely. All right. Thanks, guys. We'll see you next Wednesday. We'll be back probably at a normal time unless we have a guest that needs to go earlier. We've been accommodating.
Yeah.
But hey, you want to close it or you want me to?
No, I can go ahead and do it. For Adam, for Jason, and for everybody else, we'll see you next week. So long, everybody.